What if I told you that the reason most of you are failing at getting your TikTok, Reels, and YouTube Shorts to get tons of views in the algorithm is that you don't even know what the goal is? And I know some of you are thinking, the goal is virality. And sure, in the same way that the goal of a game is to win, that's kind of the case. But really knowing how you win on a regular basis is actually what you need to know. Well, I've come to figure out that most of you have no idea what that goal is. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to fix that. So by the end of this video, you're going to know how to study the game so you know how to score big views regularly so you can get in front of the fans most likely to like your music. When 99% of you are making content, you're either guessing or imitating. And as I'm sure you know, since, well, you're a musician, and I know how most of you perform in school, since I talked to way too many of your teachers of the dog part, well, I know what your test scores look like. Guessing and imitating makes you not learn anything since you can't repeat the success when it matters in the real world. And as much as TikTok and Instagram are filled with fake-ass losers, it sadly somehow is also the real world. But the key is if we're guessing and imitating as the game changes or people get better at it, we get left behind if we don't understand how to win and hit the goal regularly. So what's the goal and how do you learn that? So the thing we've all learned about every algorithm, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Deezer, hell, even those platforms you see listed on your distributor like Jukes and Spindlet, it's all the same. What gets shares and brings in inbound links is what they push more. Meaning that if you are what brings people to their platforms, they push you more. And since this causes some confusion about what the hell inbound links are, what I mean, when you link YouTube from an Instagram story, they love that on YouTube. Granted, Instagram hates it and punishes you, but that's another story for another time. Anyway, this means two things. When you do things like email blasts and point to Spotify when your song first drops, and then when your music video drops, you do another blast and point to YouTube, that helps stimulate the algorithm by fans coming in, and then Spotify or YouTube pushes you to more people and puts you in suggestions and on the browse page. Two, when fans like what they see and click the share button and another one of their friends watches the video and give it a high average view duration, well, YouTube puts it on more browse pages, and if we're talking about TikTok and Reels, they put it on the For You page. Over and over again, we see what is getting shared, whether that's Reels inside Instagram DMs or what's discussed in WhatsApp or Snapchats or SMS group chats is what gets big numbers. But even if you're just going for being mid-viral, trying to just get to people most likely to like your music in a small niche of the internet, the same philosophy does apply, especially with trial reels, since what we do see, well, the ones that perform best, you'll be shocked to hear, have a ton of shares on them. And you're going to be shocked to hear this too. These platforms love content that brings people in from another place and keeps people engaged on their app and sticking around and scrolling. So it makes sense that when we're thinking about what video to make, we want to make them with the goal of what gets shared, right? But some of you are going to a bad place. You're thinking you're going to run into ChatGPT and make Mr. Beast and Jenny Hoyo style videos. Or even worse, some of you are thinking that you make art and you can't have art involved because no one's going to share art, because that's totally not true. Now, the problem with these thoughts is we, one, want these videos not to go to everyone. We want them to go to the people most likely to like your music and in your culture. And two, if the video doesn't highlight your music in it and it blows up, well, people will want more of the video that blew up from you. And if they follow you because you showed how to make chicken tenders on the sidewalk, well, first off, I hope you get shut down for a health violation. But secondly, it's not going to do you a lot of good aside from the dollars YouTube will pay you for the millions of views you get when you start barfing everywhere. And remember, a lot of the key here is not mega virality. In my newsletter, which you should really subscribe to, I recently discussed the concept that maybe mid-virality is better than mega virality. AKA, you really want the people who are most likely to like your type of music seeing your videos and going viral to them. And that could be a lot better than the entire internet seeing your music, since that often doesn't do you as much good. And yeah, I know some of you also whine as you hear all this that, I shouldn't have to do this. It sucks being a musician in 2025. I'm sorry, Chief, but it's been like this since the 80s. I was watching this music video the other day from the 90s. It was by an artist called Lucas with the Lid Off. And when everybody watched that video, they'd then have to call MTV or this stupid music request network called The Box and then tell them to play it again so that their friend could finally see the video and they could discuss it. The game was the same even back then, before many of you were born. What got people calling their friends even on landlines and yelling, Yo! Was the same thing that worked almost half a fucking century ago to get music heard. It's just way easier for you now. So let me show you how to do it right, since you got way better tools to do this. Unlike previous decades, you now have a public way to study what gets people excited enough to share and see videos over and over again. All you do is look at other artists' videos and look at which ones get lots of shares. Simply scroll through it and see the symbol on Instagram, that's shares, and the same thing goes for TikToks. And anybody can see this. And of course, since YouTube likes to keep things a bit more private, they don't share this publicly, so skip shorts. But as we know, TikTok and Instagram don't often elevate the same content, since the audiences they test your videos on are different from account to account, and the way they measure performance is different. And this is one of the main things I teach in my members feed every single week, which, by the way, for $5 a month, you get over 6 hours of new videos every month, as well as my back catalog of over 100 videos where I explain the latest social media trends, answer your questions, as well as cheat codes for how you blow up in your genre faster than other artists, and dissect the biggest artists in the world and the lessons you can learn from them of how they're blowing up from 0 fans to now making their dreams come true with hundreds of thousands, even millions of fans. I also go over all the latest music promotion methods, and once a month I listen to any songs my members submit of their music they want me to listen to. So you should really tap in there, and there's a link in the description. But as we were saying, we're studying artists. Some of you will say, my favorite artists have been posting for 5 or 6 years. I'm not doing all that. Great. Hit this button that says popular, and it'll start making your job way easier. I should say, shares are not the only thing that stimulate the algorithm, but they're the most predictable. Bookmarks do it, and lots of comments will do it too. There's tons of factors, but this is what you can study that you can count on, and we're trying to find something that's reliable to make all this algorithm stuff a little less confusing. And what you learn by studying what gets shares is twofold. If you're a country artist studying a viral black metal artist, study the videos that get shared by their audience and say, how can I make the same video but in my world, since you wanted to appeal to your people culturally? If you see these artists using a certain editing style that was captivating, well, you can bring that into your world and no one will know you took it from them. And if you're studying the artists similar to you in your culture, think about what they're doing that inspires shares. How you can bring this to your audience, particularly with the vocabulary, symbolism, and other traits of the video that they are part of the culture you're in, and how they are using tricks within it to appeal to their audience. And if you see an artist that's in your culture do a prompt that's a good commentary on the genre, well, do you have a different comment you could bring to the discussion? Especially since doing these things in your culture will often help you get seen by the people most likely to like your micro-genre of music. So once you see what gets shares, the goal for the type of content you should make starts to become clear. It becomes about how you personally do it yourself and what works for you. We know the goal and can start to understand what we should be striving for. But without this, we're just guessing and imitating. So I really urge you to do this with more than just 4 artists like a lot of you do. Doing this with different artists each day for a few weeks and taking notes really starts to make you an expert. And honestly, when I talk to a lot of the artists who've blown up on short form video apps, well, this is what got them there. That's why I'm telling you this. But if you want to figure out what you should be making for your own videos, a lot of you get confused by what you should do for yourself that will make you stand apart. And this is why I always tell you that you should do a Labes analysis. If you're asking what the hell is that, that's a technique for getting to know yourself and who you are as an artist that can help lead you to understand what type of content you should make that I developed that has worked with artists with no fans and artists I've done it with that have millions of fans. It guides you what ideas are best for you by considering who you are as an artist, so you do things that align with who you are as an artist and authentically, and the things you should be doing that people are going to like when they see them, since people are drawn to when you're doing things that are exceptional that you should be doing, not trying to be somebody else. So here's the thing, while you just learned this, if you really want to grow your fan base, you need to understand how to get your music to the people most likely to like your music when they hear it, since there's a certain type of person who adopts music from new artists early on. And I'm going to teach you how to get to them by clicking on the video that's on the screen right now. So watch that if you really want to level up. Thanks for watching.